Good evening once again and a very warm welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Gloria Mutesi. On Monday, Rwanda's cabinet decided on new measures to fight the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, including restricting movements between Kigali city and the country's other districts, as well as travel between districts in the provinces. On Tuesday morning, however, people stranded at taxi parks with valid reasons for travel to other parts of the country were assisted to get to their destinations. Stationary starts us off tonight with this report.
The scene at the Kigali regional taxi park of Nyabugogo was that of people trying to get home after being caught unawares by the latest measures to fight the spread of the virus. I was traveling from Musanze going to Kirehe yesterday, and when I arrived here at Nyabugogo, I found that no more buses were going to Kirehe. So we spent the night over there, here in the taxi park. It's now 10 a.m. and they have finally given us buses to take us to our destinations, which we are very grateful for. Thank you very much. I was going to my uncle's funeral, and last night after getting here, we found out about the new travel restrictions in the provinces. I was heading to Rusizi. I am grateful that we now have a bus and are going home. I did not listen to the news on the radio in the morning and had gone to my sister's home to care for her because she was ill. Reaching Nyanza, I learned of the travel restrictions. I decided to try and keep on going and to turn back if I did not get a bus. Police officials are urging people to act responsibly during these difficult times. Those stranded should wait for authorities to listen to their cases, and those with valid reasons will be allowed to continue on their journeys. Those without will be turned back. Crowding into vehicles is not allowed. Those trying to come to Kigali from Rusizi may try and use the Kivu route, but it does not matter. They will still get caught. The fact is they will not get past Karongi, Muhanga or Rutsiro without getting caught, and they will have to answer for their actions. As for those who claim to have their own special ways of getting around the authorities using illegal routes, well, we are aware of that. But they should know that even if they get away from the police, I honestly doubt they will be able to outrun COVID. Indeed, the coronavirus pandemic is spreading at an unprecedented rate here in Rwanda, with half of fatalities since the first case in March last year occurring in December alone. Every day we have more than 100 new infections. In fact, we are now at 200, and not just in Kigali city, but at other locations in the country as well, especially urban areas. As we approached Christmas, you saw that travel restrictions had gradually been introduced as a way of trying to improve the situation, but infection rates have continued to rise. That tells us that we are passing through a time that the pandemic is spreading at a much faster pace, with people developing symptoms and dying before we can really do anything to help them. It is extremely troubling, especially when there is no cure for it at this time. Then there is the problem of people living in districts close to Kigali and other urban areas that work there or require other services and have to go back home in the evening. What are they to do? It is not just in Kigali. Take Musanze, Nyabihu or Gisenyi or even other towns. In all these places you will find that certain things and services link with surrounding areas for different reasons, including children that have to go to school there. Authorities are considering all of this and dealing with one issue after another, taking different factors into consideration. Regardless, we may have to test people in such situations to ascertain that they are not carrying the virus. Another development is that all business establishments such as shops, restaurants and marketplaces are to be closed by 6 p.m.
Now, still on the note of regulations put in place by the recent cabinet resolutions, all business establishments will close operations daily by 6 p.m. Here is the Minister of Trade and Industry explaining why this move was taken.
There are
two main reasons as to why these business activities will have to close at 6 p.m. Firstly, because these places attract very many people and we are avoiding that. And secondly, the curfew time that was put in place at 8 p.m. We've come to observe that most people with shops or restaurants would operate till 8 p.m. and you'd find that they don't have enough time to go back home. So that's why we wanted to give these businesses enough time to get home, as well as those who seek their services too. And the Commissioner General of the Rwanda Correctional Services, CGP George Rigamba, has given assurances that inmates with COVID-19 are being cared for accordingly and that there are no critical cases as measures to fight the spread of the virus in the country's prison system have continued.
When efforts began in November last year, COVID-19 cases became evident in 3 prisons at Rwamagana, Muhanga and Nyarugenge. Health experts from the Rwanda Biomedical Center and the Ministry of Health immediately came to our aid, and fortunately, we had just completed the construction of rooms to be used as classrooms by the inmates, and they were transformed into treatment centers. As a result of that, COVID-19 cases at those 3 prisons progressively decreased, and as we speak, they are now free of the virus. However, other cases have cropped up at other prisons, places like Musanze, Huye, Rusizi, and Ngoma, and 3 prison guards have also been found to have contracted the virus. In total, 291 people are currently being treated. At the other prisons too, classrooms are being used as isolation centers, and where such facilities are not available, tents are being used. Also, visits for inmates have been suspended as a way of mitigating the spread of the pandemic, and those wishing to provide financial support for their loved ones in prison are being facilitated to do so, while technology is being used to ensure that those due in court appear virtually so that their cases can proceed.
And away from Rwanda, people living in the town of Bria in the province of Haut-Koto, 600 kilometers from Bangui, the capital city of the Central African Republic, are attributing the hope for peace to RDF peacekeepers in that country, part of the United Nations multi-dimensional integrated stabilization mission. Saishinore has more.
The town of Bria from above and on the ground bears the scars of war, with many ruins and a camp housing 50,000 people. An RDF mechanized unit, part of MINUSCA, is based in the town and working hard to help restore peace to the troubled region. We carry out robust and aggressive patrols in the town day and night, using our tanks, like I told you, as many times as possible in different neighborhoods of the town, so that the rebels do not get the opportunity to destabilize security. We also hold joint patrols with FOCA, the country's army, so as to build up their confidence and get local residents accustomed to them, such that they will be able to continue after we leave. The governor of the province has expressed gratitude for the efforts of the RDF peacekeepers.
L'année passée, c'était en avril 2020.
In April 2020, RDF soldiers escorted me and I toured the entire province of Haut-Koto. And as you know, it is the biggest province in the entire country. At places like Damwaja, people told me that they had not seen a provincial governor in more than 20 years. I asked MINUSCA for an escort and they gave me RDF soldiers, and they were not discouraged by the poor security or bad roads. They helped me to get as far as Samuwaja, and I am very happy with what the RDF is doing for us in Haut-Koto. Local residents in the province have also heaped praises upon the RDF peacekeepers, calling them professional and fearless. The governor also remembers his visit to Rwanda and what he saw.
J'ai été l'année passée à Kigali pour
Last year, I was in Kigali to attend Umushyikirano, in 2019 rather. I was very impressed and believe the Central African Republic would benefit from organizing similar events where every year the government gathers in front of the general public to explain what it is doing and what has been achieved, especially the implementation of different programs and projects. The RDF camp at Bria also has facilities to deal with the threat COVID-19 poses there as well, and train medical personnel.
Now bringing you back to Rwanda, residents of Musanze and Burera near the Volcanoes National Park have been happy since the construction of infrastructure protecting them from flash torrents, infrastructure that is now 50% complete. Among the 20 water canals to be built, some are already under construction, and residents are happy because this has also been a source of employment for them. In May 2019, when President Paul Kagame visited the people of Musanze and Burera, they expressed the issue of flash torrents from volcanoes that destroyed their things, including their lives. President Paul Kagame agreed that this issue would be addressed.
Water coming down and damaging things. That is also a problem that I have been informed about and that has existed for some time now. That water can be channeled in other ways or even used productively instead of it just destroying what people build.
The project was launched in 2020 and will cost more than 35 billion Rwanda francs and will be implemented in phases, including building 20 water canals to channel water from the volcanoes. Residents in the environs of this park acknowledge that they now won't always have to worry because the water will be channeled the right way. Immediately after His Excellency had mentioned it, they immediately came and started working on the infrastructure for the water torrents coming from Muhabura. They have constructed water canals where water is channeled and no longer destroys people's property. In addition to these water canals being built, trees are being planted as well as bridges. These communities promise they are ready to take care of the infrastructure. We are committed to take care of this infrastructure so that no one will damage it. It will be sustainable as well. The construction of infrastructure to deal with flash torrents from volcanoes is expected to be complete by 2024. Musanze and Burera are prone to the flash torrents, hence being the starting point for the construction of these water canals. Burera and Musanze are more susceptible to flash water torrents with very high volume. So that's where we started, and we're putting in more effort. And we are confident that in the next perhaps 2 or 3 years, all these issues will be addressed. This project will help them deal with issues such as climate change, with rains that come and destroy their property. So this infrastructure isn't for the government, it's theirs, and they ought to take care of it and look out for each other. The project envisages the construction of 11 water canals in Musanze, 8 in Burera, 2 in Nyabihu, and 1 in Rubavu. On behalf of the entire news production team, thanks for your company tonight. I hope this year is off to a good start for all of you, but we are still fighting the COVID-19 battle, so no one is safe until we all are. So here's a reminder to do all that is required of you to protect yourself and those around you. Otherwise, God bless you and keep you, and until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi.